Crimson Trace's laser saddle is a feature-packed laser sighting solution for Mossberg 500, 590, and 590 Shockwave 12-gauge shotguns. Available as a red or green laser. Buy it now at crimsontrace.com.
He rode out of Louisiana territory, and with his gun slung low and his microphone held high, he brought truth to a savage land. And the legend grew. Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
All right, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. It's Gun Talk, 866-TALK-GUN, or you can call in, just call me a Tom Talk Gun. Always looking for your range reports if you've been out doing some shooting, if you've got a new gun, or if you've taken somebody out to the range and introduced them to the shooting sports. We'd love to hear those stories. All right, now, so since, 25 years ago when Florida really was kind of the kickoff state for concealed carry, the numbers keep growing and growing. We just saw the numbers at 1.4 million more concealed carry permits last year than the year before. Astounding. We're up to like 18, 19 million. But what's interesting is that you have, out in California, you have one county that has issued more concealed carry permits than any other. And joining me right now is the sheriff of that county, Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims joins us. Sheriff, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me on, Tom.
You bet. So I guess, obviously, I'm a proponent of people taking responsibility for their own safety and those who want to getting a concealed carry permit. But you've actually been encouraging this for years, telling people, you ought to consider getting your permit. Why is that?
Well, it was very important to me personally and, frankly, the constituency in Fresno County. When I first decided to run for sheriff, that was the number one question I got asked no matter where I went. In fact, it became such a question that I was carrying copies of the applications with me in my car so that when people asked, I could hand them the application right on the spot. Now, that was 13 years ago. And now with technology, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. And now in Fresno County, you don't have to copy anything. You can actually apply online, go to your class, get your weapon. It has to be registered to you. And everything is so automatic now that pretty much if you've got a clean background, you're going to be able to get a concealed weapons permit in Fresno County.
All right, so you've been doing this for 13 years, encouraging people to get their permits. And I know in California, one of the requirements, there are like 4 requirements, but one of them is you have to show good cause, which has always driven me crazy. It's kind of like, really, I have to show you that I'm worthy of protecting myself? But I like your attitude. Explain how you kind of come down on this whole good cause idea.
Sure. In Fresno County, personal protection is good cause. I don't have a deputy sheriff to assign to every citizen in the county to protect them, so it is a personal responsibility. Prior to me becoming sheriff, there were some other requirements. You had to carry large amounts of money, travel in high crime areas, travel a lot at night, and that didn't make any sense to me. I had a young daughter, and I thought, she doesn't travel a lot at night, she doesn't carry a lot of cash, she doesn't travel in high crime areas, but she could be victimized just as easily as somebody else. So that's why personal protection is good cause in Fresno County.
All right, so you have 13 years of experience with this, and of course we know, you've seen it, in state after state, as each state passed a concealed carry law and people could carry guns, the media and the anti-gun forces came out and said, well, there will be blood in the streets, and every fender bender, every argument will turn into a shooting. So what has been your experience now that you have a full 13 years as sheriff of doing this?
Well, we have a total of about 15,000 CCWs in Fresno County. And over the years, I've had only a handful of issues with people that have been issued these permits. I could probably count them on both hands in 13 years,
wow.
Which means that, first of all, we're doing good background checks, and it's just proof to me that law-abiding citizens are responsible people and make good decisions. And by golly, if they want to be able to arm themselves and be protected, they should be able to, because there's plenty of bad guys out there with weapons.
No kidding. I got a weird question for you. When you're talking to your deputies and they're out on the street, they're pulling people over, traffic stops and everything else, Is there any particular advice or protocol that you have for your officers when somebody has a concealed carry permit?
Well, we really don't for the officers. Most of my advice are for the permit holders.
Okay.
Now, in my opinion, it's important for somebody who has a permit to advise the law enforcement officer that they have the permit and they're carrying.
Right.
I think that's a wise decision for a permit carrier to have. My people know very well we have a lot of concealed weapon permits out there. They know that. And so when somebody says they have a permit, they know they've been vetted. They know that they're going to check, of course, and take a look at that permit. But they're very aware that there's a lot of people with permits to carry weapons. And my advice to people that do have these permits and are carrying is, of course, follow instructions. Keep your hands on the steering wheel if you're stopped and say, by the way, your sheriff has issued me a CCW and I'm armed. And the deputy will give instructions from there. And
the thing is, everybody wants to come away from that without any surprises. If the deputy doesn't have any surprises, that's great. And if the person who's carrying the gun doesn't have any surprises from the deputy, it's great. Communication and compliance, and look, this is going to last 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're all going to go on our way. Whether you get a ticket, whether you don't, that's kind of the small part of the whole deal. It's making sure that everybody comes away safe from this encounter. At least that's my attitude on it.
That's exactly right. And, here in our list of instructors, we've got great instructors, and we have several, and they do a very good job about this is what you should expect. If you're stopped, this is what you should expect. If you have to use your weapon, this is what you should expect. And so they're very thorough when it comes to going over what the scenarios are. Some
of the states have run a lot of research, a lot of data on people who have carry permits, and almost universally, the data comes back that the people who actually have applied for, done the background check, done the class, all that, people who are actually carrying guns and have a permit commit crime at a rate much, much less than the general population. Is that been carried out in Fresno County?
I believe that just based on the fact of the number of permits we have out there and the number of issues that we have with permit holders, the percentage is so small that I believe that those studies are accurate.
Do you have any thoughts in terms of, and I know you do this all the time. You talk to people. We see about half the people now who are getting their permits are women, and a lot of them kind of come to this maybe without as much background in firearms. So just kind of your general thoughts, particularly for women who are considering doing this, should I, shouldn't I, what should I do kind of thing?
You bet. When I first took office and was expressing my opinion about CCWs, we had a huge increase in women applying for and being interested in getting an application. And my advice to women, actually my advice to anybody is it's a very, very personal decision, first of all. And the only way to know if you think you may want to carry a weapon is you go and you shoot. You just try it out. And many people will decide at that point, no, it's not for them, or yes, I'm going to move forward with this. It just depends on how comfortable you are.
I agree, and I think when you go and shoot, if you do it with an instructor, because if you do it wrong, then you may get a bad impression of shooting, but if you do it with a good instructor, you go, oh, okay, I see how to do that.
Exactly, and a lot of our ranges here locally, they will have a special ladies' night where, the special is you choose a weapon you want to shoot, they waive the rental fees, you buy your own ammunition, but you decide which weapon is most comfortable for you to shoot. And I get asked a lot from women, what kind of weapon should I carry, Sheriff? And my answer is the one most comfortable for you to shoot. And that when you go to a good range, they will have those nights where women go, they might be a lot more comfortable with that. They can decide which weapon is most comfortable for them to shoot, and then they go to a class. Now, I will tell you that some people, after the class, decide not to follow through, especially after going through the civil liability part of it. They just decide, hey, that's not something I'm willing to risk. And,
and you know what? And that's a good thing, because if you look at it and you say, this really isn't for me, now I realize how important this is and how daunting it is, and frankly, how dangerous it can be. Maybe I don't want to do that, and that's okay. That's a worthwhile choice as well.
I think that's a very wise decision for a lot of people. And then many people, of course, become so involved with it, they will take enhanced courses. And we have a lot of those in Fresno County, where you have the basic 8-hour course to get a CCW. Every 2 years there's a renewal. But there's also enhanced training where they will have scenarios. Okay, you're at a restaurant with your family and you're sitting at the table and this happens. And they go through those practice situations, which I think is good practical training.
Have you had any of the folks you've issued permits to have to use their guns in self-defense?
Yes. Just last year, it was an older gentleman who took daily walks along a canal bank in the county of Fresno. And he was attacked by a man with a 2x4. He was actually being beaten with a 2x4 by a man. It was a homeless guy. And he knocked him to the ground and was beating him, and he pulled his weapon and shot and wounded the man. He didn't kill him, but he wounded him. And it was a clear case of self-defense, where he was going to be severely injured had he not stopped that attacker. And I had a media outlet contact me and say, Sheriff, this guy severely wounded somebody with one of your with a weapon, and because he had one of your CCWs. And I said, and that's right, it was self-protection, and there's 15,000 other permit holders out there, so people should think twice about who they're attacking.
Sheriff, I love what you're doing there. This is just wonderful. And I know you have to be getting some pushback from the media and maybe even from other law enforcement agencies in other parts of the state.
Well, it's not pushback. I tell you, I get calls, for instance, from other sheriffs, and they say, what are you doing down there? You've got so much support. People in my county are saying, how come you're not doing what Sheriff Mims is doing in Fresno County? So it is, and I'm okay with that. If they don't like it, I'm okay. If they do like it, I'm okay. It truly is a constitutional issue with me. One thing I tell people is you can't choose one and like it more than all the others. You have to support all of our constitutional rights. This one is very important to my constituency.
Have you considered running for governor?
Oh.
Because we could get a lot of support for you, I guarantee you.
Well, I tell you, I'm in the sheriffing business, and I don't think Mr. Mims would go along with that idea.
Well, Sheriff, thank you so much. We're Sheriff Margaret Mims, Sheriff of Fresno County, California. I just applaud what you're doing, and I just want to personally thank you. It is just wonderful what you're doing there.
Well, thank you for having me on again, Tom.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, Sheriff Margaret Mims, Fresno County, California. My kind of sheriff. What do you think? What's your take on her? Let me know what you think at 866-TALK-GUN.
It's America's favorite .22 rifle. No matter how, where, or what you like to shoot, there's a Ruger 1022 for you. From the carbine to the incredible takedown models, the tactical and target versions, all Ruger 1022 models have a legendary action and detachable 10-round rotary magazine. Whether you're hunting squirrels or tin cans, there's a lifetime of fun in every Ruger 1022 rifle. See them all at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
Hi, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Have you ever heard about a gun giveaway and thought, I can't win that stuff, I live in a state where I can't own it? Well, visit guntalk.com/win to enter the Legal Everywhere giveaway presented by Timney Triggers. One grand prize with more than $7,300 in prizes, including 2 handguns, triggers, holster packages, tactical gear, optics, and more. Residents of all 50 states can enter. That's right, California, Massachusetts, Maryland, those 5 counties in Illinois, everyone. Prizes from Axion Optics, Colt, Crossbreed Holsters, DeSantis, Proper, Timney Triggers, and Walther. Enter now through November 1st at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of one football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Hey, when do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your house or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while he and his family were home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, Blink video clips were sent to police to help convict the crooks. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years. And when you're away, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on kids and pets from anywhere using your Blink smartphone app. No contracts, totally affordable. In fact, Blink systems start at just $79.99. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/guntalk. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Also available on Amazon at Best Buy. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. All right, out of California, Governor Newsom just signed a whole passel of gun control bills. Really some ugly stuff there. One of them, the red flag law, they basically changed it so now almost anybody can call and make a charge against you. I mean, co-workers, teachers, administrators, the list is pretty long, and call and say, well, this person threatened me. He's acting a little bit weird, and he has guns. And they come and they take your guns away. And it can take years to clear your name. Years. We also have a 1 gun a month on semi-automatic firearms now, rifles in California. Let's see. You have to be 21 to buy a semi-automatic rifle, even if you're buying it for hunting. It goes on and on. One of the ones that was the weirdest to me, and I have to admit I was not prepared for this, precursor parts. Never heard of such a thing. Basically, parts you can buy to add on to or modify or make a gun. Of course, California, now you have to do a background check, undergo a background check to buy ammunition. Now you're going to have to go through a background check to buy a trigger or a barrel. Oh, yeah. And they have to be sold through licensed dealers. Precursor parts. Basically, parts. Just gun parts is really what we're talking about here. It's crazy town in California. Now, certainly some of these are going to get challenged in court, but that takes years and lots of money. And while that's going on, Governor Newsom says, well, this is all great. How many times have I said this to you? How many times have I said this to you? He says, well, these are important steps, but there's so much more to do. In other words, yes, we're stripping away your freedoms, but you still have a whole bunch of freedoms we're going to come after. We have to pass a whole lot more gun control. We have to rip away your personal freedoms. Every single time They pass a gun control law. They sign it. They look up at the cameras, and after they told us this is the end all and be all, this is going to take care of crime, then they look up at the cameras and say, well, this is a good first step. Or in this case, he just says, there's so much more we have to do. It is frustrating. It is really frustrating. Let's go get Scott on line 3 out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Scott, your take on Sheriff Mims' comments.
She was excellent. I'm a retired LEO and a concealed carry instructor here in North Carolina, and excellent job. Just a couple other points I'd like to mention.
Sure.
When you're pulled by an officer, and upon his approach, it always puts us at a little bit more ease if you say, "Officer, deputy, trooper, I have a permit," before you start saying I'm armed.
Yes, there's a small difference, but it's a really important difference, because if you start off by saying, I have a gun, as Masada Ayub says, his reaction is the officer's going to say, well, so do I. So let's not go there. Probably a better idea to say, I have a permit to carry a concealed firearm, and today I am carrying one, and it's located on my hip. Again, with your hands on the steering wheel, and I always add, officer, how do you want to proceed with this? In other words, you're acknowledging who's in charge of this conversation. Right.
And this is another thing that some don't think about. If the officer asks you to hand him the gun, you don't want to do that, because he could have an assist officer on the interstate that's approaching the car, and he can't tell what's going on other than he sees you going for a gun.
Sees you pull a gun out.
Yes,
well, what should you do then? I'd probably say, okay, officer, I'd really rather not pull the gun out. Is it okay if I get out and you take it out of my holster?
That's exactly it.
Okay, exactly that correct. Way you're not actually handling the gun. You have the officer just say, I'll stand up, I'll hold my hands up, you take it out of the holster, do whatever you want to do with it, but I really don't want to be grabbing the gun and handling it. It's a great point, because you have another officer rolls up, sees the person who's being stopped, pull a gun out, bang, bang, here we go again. I mean, I'm going back to this thing that just happened in Texas, in Fort Worth. Woman in her own home gets shot through the window by a police officer at 2 o'clock in the morning while her 8-year-old's in the house. No indication that this woman is a threat. No indication that there was assault or attack of any type. Something weird is going on here. 866-TALK-GUN. Tom Gresham here. This is Gun Talk.
Honey, does this holster make me look fat?
The right answers to the tough questions on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk.
Hey, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. Easy to reach us if you want to join me for the conversation. Just call Tom Talk Gun. Or that's, 866-825, who cares about the number? Just Tom Talk Gun. It's easier, right? All right. And by the way, we're open lines if there's something you want to talk about, if it involves guns. If you don't like guns, call me. I'll put you up in front of the line, and I'll be quiet, let you tell me why. If you think there ought to be more gun control, tell me why. If you think we ought to have universal background checks, tell me why. Because I don't understand it, and maybe you can explain it to me. 866-TALK-GUN is how you get in here. All right. Ohio governor rejects red flag laws. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine rejected the red flag laws, saying that they are inefficient and dangerous. But then he went on to call for expanding involuntary commitments. The problem with involuntary commitment is often there's not much in the way of due process there. And then he comes up with some idea of instituting a seller protection certificate. This is kind of a workaround of the universal background check. I see where they're trying to go with that. Trying to sweeten the deal. What they're trying to do is say, okay, and if you, and doing a private sale, and you and the other person do the seller certificate program, then you would have liability coverage. You wouldn't be liable if you were to sell a gun to someone who's not supposed to have one and they're using it in a crime. I honestly think we are trying to come up with a solution for which there is not much in the way of a problem. but you may disagree. By all means, give me a shout if you do. The New York gun case is going to the Supreme Court. Going to be argued, oral arguments will be December the 2nd. This is the case where New York City, which of course has massively restrictive gun control laws, said, oh yeah, and by the way, you can't take your gun out of the city. What? You can't go shooting at another range outside of the city. Well, once you got it, you can only go to the ranges that are here. Well, that's nuts. It got challenged. They fought it. Challenged. They fought it. And then when it looked as though the Supreme Court was actually going to accept the case because it's such a clear loser for them, they said, oh, no. We don't want it to go to the Supreme Court. We'll go change the law. We'll get rid of that law. See, nothing to see here. It's fine. You don't have to. The Supreme Court does not need to hear this. Of course, they're looking at it and going, this would be a terrible precedent to actually say that we can't do this kind of restriction. So they said, now it's moot. No need to even hear this. And then we had some U.S. Congress people actually threaten the Supreme Court over this case. They said, if you hear this case, if you go forward with this, we're going to pack the Supreme Court. We're going to change the law. We're going to put more people on it. We're going to change the makeup of the Supreme Court, make it more liberal. Threatened the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court looked at it and said, you know what? We don't think this is moot. Yes, you changed the law and you got rid of it, but the problem is you can always come back and put the law back in. And now it will take many, many years and lots of dollars for somebody to go back and challenge it. And then when it gets to the Supreme Court, you'll take it off the books again, and here we go again. So no, we're going to actually hear this one. You can't make it go away that easily. Just brilliant, actually. December the 2nd, oral arguments before the Supreme Court. And the thing is, this has the potential for making the Second Amendment to require strict scrutiny, which would be huge. That would be bigger than anything. It would be on a par with the Heller decision. Let's see. Tim, don't go anywhere. I got to take a quick break. You're going to be first up when we come back. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN, get you in here. As I say, open lines if you want to talk about a gun that you have, a gun that you would like to have, or tell me about the one you sold that you never should have. Yeah, we all have those, don't we? 866-TALK-GUN.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. Galleryofguns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Battle Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
FN, the world world's most battle-proven firearms. You want to reach for history, for greatness. So reach for the FN57, a 5.7 millimeter pistol built with the DNA of over a century of legendary FN firearms. And now, it's within reach at your local firearms dealer. The FN57 is the perfect combination of accuracy and stopping power. FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
Hey, next hour, I want to talk about this case out of Florida. You've seen the video. The guy who rushes out of the convenience store because there's a man who's decided he's going to be the handicap parking police, and he's giving this woman a hard time. And this woman's husband comes out and shoves this guy, says, basically, leave my wife alone. And the guy on the ground. And then the guy's backing up. The guy who pushed him down, he's backing up. And the guy on the ground shoots and kills this guy. Just got sentenced to 20 years. So lessons there we want to talk about as well. But right now, let's go to the phones. Line 5, Tim is with us out of Lebanon, New Hampshire. Hello, Tim. What's on your mind, sir?
Hi. Yes, I have a question. It's regarding handguns with shot shells. And the reason is I'm older and I have an intention tremor with my hands, so it's hard. If I intend to do something, I get a tremor. But I have a 22 long rifle, 22 mag, and a 38 special with shot shells. Are they effective in self-defense?
No. Simple.
No?
No, and they also will not help you with your aiming at all. Because have you shot them at anything?
No.
Okay, go out and shoot them, and you will find that you will have a pattern about the size of the palm of your hand at any kind of a semi-effective distance. But they will not stop an attacker, period. They're not going to. What you need is something that helps you aim. I am going to suggest a laser, because at the very least, you can see where it's pointing better. Maybe get with an instructor and see if you can work with those tremors and to work with your trigger pull on that. But shot loads out of those pistols, you're telling me, are decent for rats or for snake loads out to about 10 feet. They would not be effective at stopping an attacker, and I do not recommend them, and they're not going to help with your aiming issue either. You need to address this some other way.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for the advice. I'll take it.
Okay, thank you, Tim. All right, appreciate it. Line 1, Dell is in Lewiston, Idaho, just up the road from where I'm sitting at the moment there. Hello, Dell.
Yes. Hello, sir. I just wanted to mention that I just moved from California 2 weeks ago.
Fresno County, huh?
Wonderful governor. Fresno County.
We just had the sheriff, Margaret Mims, on there. So, yeah, okay, so you know of Margaret Mims, you're familiar with that thing, but you still had to get out of California.
Yes, sir, because of the stupid governor. That man is taking way too much power.
Is it primarily the gun stuff, or is it like the culmination of everything that's going on there?
It's the combination of everything. He has taken the gas tax money and given it to that high-speed rail to nowhere. What he's done with PG&E, between him and PG&E, the power outages, and then the gun stuff, and then all the other stuff he's doing. No, I'm out of there. And I grew up here, so,
Oh, okay, so you've returned to Idaho.
Yes.
What do your friends who are still in California say?
Pardon?
Well, your friends who are still in California, what do they say about this? Do they understand? Do they have the same feeling about what the governor's doing, what's going on in the state?
Pretty much. Their biggest concern for me is, well, it gets cold up there. And I'm like, and?
You turn on the heat and you put on a sweater. That is always the funniest thing for me. I mean, I grew up in Louisiana. People go, oh, it's cold up there. Yeah, but we have the right clothes. If you keep wearing your polyester pantsuit, you're going to be cold when the weather's cold.
Yep.
But if you actually wear good clothes and put on a sweater, You know, it's fine. They actually have created things called coats, and you can get those. It's cool. You know, it really works for you. All right, Dale, I appreciate the call, sir. Look, I got to keep moving here. We got them coming in. By the way, if you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN. Line 2, Sam's with us out of Grants Pass, Oregon. Hey, Sam, you're on Gun Talk.
Well, I just wanted to comment on the expense of taking any situation to court and the fact that you don't get compensated. What they will do is they will drag you into the court system, and they will follow through they go until they're about to lose, and the state will then say, oh, we give up. And you don't get compensated for any of that. And that, I think, is a major problem because it's financially taxing the people that want their rights and don't get to enjoy their rights in the whole time that these laws are enacted. And yet, when they do actually, the state or the Fed gets thrown out of court, or they back out of court, not thrown out of court, they back out of court, you don't get compensated for all of that money and energy that you put into it.
I mean, like this New York case, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point have been spent pursuing this and taking it to the Supreme Court. And then New York at the last minute says, oh, yeah, no harm, no foul. We're going to change the law. It's all good. No need to go up there and let the Supreme Court rule on this. Fortunately, the Supreme Court sees what's going on and goes, no, because you can always change it back. And now we're going to have to go back and do this again. But, you know, I'm thinking, Sam, to your point here, this actually happens on a smaller scale on individuals who are either charged with crimes or, in the case of the red flag laws, you're not even charged with a crime. They just come and take your guns, and it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars and months, if not many, many years, to challenge it, to get your guns back. And you were never even charged with a crime. That's the thing that bothers me the most about the red flag laws. If they want to come in and say, okay, look, we're going to charge you with a crime, and then once you're convicted, you're going to lose your guns, well, at least you've had your day in court. But, man, the red flag laws, the first time you know there's an issue is when somebody's pounding on your door at 5 in the morning, and I hope it doesn't turn out like that guy in Maryland who the police shot when they came to take his guns at 5 in the morning, or like this woman in Fort Worth, where the police come to do supposedly a welfare check on her and see her walking through her house, and the officer shoots and kills her. He's outside the house, shoots her through the window, kills her, 2 o'clock in the morning. And according to the witnesses, and it appears now according to the body cam footage, nobody identified themselves as the police. Question for you. If you're in your house and it's 2 in the morning, and evidently she'd been playing video games, 28-year-old woman, and you hear somebody walk around out in your yard, and you look out there and there's somebody poking around with flashlights, and you have a gun for self-defense. In this case, she didn't. It turns out I don't believe she pulled her gun out or had it in her hand. Wouldn't it be logical for you to have? Well, here's the question. What would you do? I don't know what she did. I don't even know, honestly, if she even knew they were out there. The body cam video has the officer saying, well, actually giving contradictory advice. You know, raise your hands, don't move. Always love that. Well, pick one. Which, you got one officer sometimes saying freeze, the other one saying raise your hands. You know, okay, either way, I'm hosed. What am I supposed to do here? I think they're going to end up finding, I mean, this is very, very early on. We don't have much information. It's very possible they're going to find there's a training issue. It's very disturbing, the idea that this would happen. But I'd love to get your take on 866-TALK-GUN. Hey, Jeff, don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you when we come back. Fair enough. And we do have room for you to join us. If there's a gun that you're thinking about buying, call me. I'll tell you, buy it. I'll give you permission. It'll work out. Hey, don't forget to enter our Legal Everywhere giveaway. It's presented by Timney Triggers. You know, some of the giveaways we do, the guns we have, there are some states where you can't own those. This is everything in this you can own in all 50 states. One person's going to win all the stuff. It's an Aspen Optics prize pack, including a second zero rail mount. There's guns in here. There's scopes. There's, binoculars. Holy cow. Colt competition stainless steel model in 45 ACP. Crossbreed holsters prize pack. DeSantis guns holsters. I mean, it goes on and on. It's crazy. It's like $7,000 worth of stuff. You go to guntalk.com/win, and yes, you can win all of this stuff in every state. Although in California, to get the trigger, you probably have to go through a licensed dealer these days because they have changed their laws again to be just when you thought they couldn't be any more stupid. There they are, setting new records out there. Hey, let's go talk to Jeff in Wichita, Kansas on line 4. Hello, Jeff. Thank you for calling.
Hi, Tom. I'll come right to the point. So great. You and fellow allies for the responsible ownership of guns do a really good job and have done a really good job lately in the media of arguing the facts of the statistics of gun homicides for in the example of that the number of people killed by rifles is vastly lower than the number of people killed by blunt force trauma, objects, fists, all that. That's really great argumentation, and it's excellent that that's getting out to a wider audience, I think. However, one thing I'm concerned about, and in my own conversations and talking to people that are prone to be the gun grabber mentality, is that right now those statistics are in our favor. But are we, by leaning on those statistics, maybe too much? Because what if the winds change? What if we enter a situation where actually the rifle violence does increase by orders of magnitude and actually there's very high gun crime? What if that actually does happen and the statistics reflect that? Are we prepared to argue not so much on statistics but on principle? And furthermore, my last kind of thought on that is this, that the fact that there might be prolific gun violence in the future, that actually might be, an argument in favor of private, responsible gun ownership. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. It's good points. There's one other option in all of this, and that is, and I think we probably need to be doing this a lot more. Yes, the statistics are on our side, and frankly, they always have been. But, people aren't really swayed by statistics. They're swayed by emotion. And that's why the gun banners use the, so-and-so got killed. Doesn't that make you sad? Doesn't it make you outraged? Yada, yada, yada. We must do something. I think we should be using the same thing and really putting out all these stories of all these people who use guns to save themselves and their children. All the children who have been saved when their mothers had guns. All the people who have been saved when people broke into a house and, they saved themselves and the occupants. The personal stories, I think we need to try to get out there as much as possible. Yes, the stats are on our side. I do understand you're thinking of, well, if they change, does that put us at a disadvantage? The truth of the matter is gun rights don't really depend upon safety or crime or anything else. The Second Amendment is about controlling a radical, tyrannical government. Yeah, I know. Makes people nervous, but that's what it is. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with all the rest of that stuff. And yeah, the Heller decision included self-defense, and I'm glad it did. But the truth of the matter is, it was written so that we could control and preserve our government from a tyrannical government. Yeah, I know. Hey, when we come back, let's talk about shooting in the Olympics. Pretty cool stuff. Be right back.